How many times have you been in this situation? You get a hard knockdown, you pull an item, and it's not something that grants immediate pressure. You do some bootleg string like this and go back to neutral. How about, instead of doing that, we do something useful that actually achieves something? Yeah, that's looking a bit better. By doing a block string into it, we can effectively gain the properties of the afro before it's fully visible to the opponent. Most people are going to be too focused on Faust's immediate actions to think a move or two ahead, and realise they're going to be open to instant overheads before they have the time to visually react to the afro being applied. 2k, 5p, 5k can do okay against fuzzy attempts while having a jump cancel ready to go as the afro is applied, and with a perfectly timed meaty, your 5p will beat mash attempts. You really have a ton of options here, so I would search for a couple of strings you like. Honestly, everyone I've tried this on in Celestial just gets opened up with the instant overheads, but that's not going to work forever, especially when you fight good players. Stable pressure with a lot of layers is what makes this so strong. Nothing in this video is intended to be a gimmick. This is about stable pressure that will work even against someone who knows it's coming. Oh, and a side note, you have to hit JK immediately as the afro is applied. If you wait a bit first, the afro position will shift or something, it'll whiff. I think it like wobbles or something as it's applied. Doing it faster is better anyway, so be quick. With Meter, it's very easy to safely string into afro from a meaty. With K-Crow PRC, we can keep the block string tight, and the side switch can distract your opponent so they're even less focused on the upcoming afro threat. You can also layer in tick throw attempts, or instead of going for an instant overhead, just burn the afro timer for the guard crush and mix from there. Particularly brutal because of the amount of risk you can build, not to mention Meter. Trumpet unfortunately requires Meter to make work for us, and is also screen position dependent. If your back is to the wall, the minions come out way faster, which gives you a slightly worse mix up. Still, we get to do a 50-50 high-low either way. RCing mix into JS/JH lets us run a mix-up of the plus frames with minions to cover our back, and also opens them up to fuzzy overheads that convert fully even if you get the worst Trumpet RNG. There's enough time before the minions hit for a left-right with Scarecrow, and enough of a gap to throw them after JH and before the minions hit. Layers upon layers. With your back to the wall, a high-low off of mix fast RC is the most straightforward follow-up with good conversion ability. You have the option of hitting with JKCS or immediately going into 2k2D and letting the minions set up for your conversion. 5k into Kara mix is most stable here, and 5H Scalpel is your best bet off of JK. You can even get wilder conversions like this one if the minion luck is just right, but it's not real match practical since it's very RNG heavy. It's cool however, check it. You can cancel mix early to vary your timings, but you have to be careful about getting PRC by accident. Our other offense starter is using charged S-Crow to grab the Trumpet and stall things out while we wait for the minions to arrive, since this is our only way to get the Trumpet in a lot of positions. Combined with the RC slowdown and the extra block stun from charging Crow, you're at advantage after RC on the ground and can score counter hits with close slash even on 3F moves like Soul 5k. From here you can mix up from close slash into 5D, 2H or K-Crow for a consistent high-low left-right mix-up. If they anti-air it, well, no one anti-airs that shit anyway, right? It'll be fine. Meterless bomb setups have very high return, but do demand respect out of your opponents. Strings that are normally reasonably tight become looser because of bomb hit stop, and they all have gaps even without it. The general premise is kinda obvious, just do some stuff to burn down the fuse, then do a mix up as it explodes. Ideally with enough room to also threaten command grabs, which every setup I'm going to show has room for at multiple points. This stock fuzzy setup is about making them block JS/JH and then hitting with an overhead JD when they naturally go to low block. If they get hit, you score monster damage and an incredibly easy conversion, and if they block it, they're in block stun long enough you can get right back in their face and threaten strike throw or whatever else you want to do. Make sure to jump backwards for the JD or the bomb will hit you. With 50 meter and a bomb, you're basically given free rein to do some insanely heinous mix-ups that I feel we've been straight up overlooking for an entire year. There's nothing but unreactable left-rights and high-lows all over the joint. If they block your meaty, they're already set to hold everything. Most of these, the only gap is between 5H and mix mix mix, and that can only be beaten with a 3-frame button. Mix 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 -RC JK is an overhead that can be jump cancelled with inertia. You have to hold right the entire time and -RC to get the full momentum launch. It's important. If the JK does happen to hit, it'll still combo into the bomb, so they need to be right twice to avoid this one. If you're mid-screen, you can get a high-low from Mix RC JK or Mix RC 2K that combos into bomb with a follow-up. Unfortunately, this doesn't work near the wall since we need the space to avoid the explosion. You have to cut Mix early after 2 or 3 hits, or you'll cruise straight into bomb range. Using Scarecrow to stay close enough to cross them up as bomb explodes is another good option. Delaying your strings properly to match the bomb timer has a surprising amount of nuance to it, and you'll definitely need to drill them to get it down. Fortunately, delaying enough that you don't cross them up takes specific effort, but you do want to run the bomb timer down as much as you can to make it harder to react, while also keeping your string tight enough that they can't mash out. That's all I've got for now. There's so much you can do with all 3 of these items, and I really hope this video makes you play around with the concept of looking past the immediate okizeme situation when you pull an item. There's still tons of potential to be wrung out of Faust yet. Happy mixing, gamers!